We just got done with our first ultrasound appointment, our first OB appointment, and it was pretty straightforward and simple. They gave us some little pictures of the ultrasound, and baby was measuring perfect. Everything looks really normal, she said. And we even had like a little bit of movement. The heart rate was 164, which is perfect. So Devron and I just got back from my first OB appointment, and we were so excited because we got to see the baby's heart rate on the screen. And of course, it feels so good after waiting like forever, it feels like, to get to your first appointment, and then just seeing a heartbeat on the screen is like such an amazing feeling. So for the first OB appointment, they told me that I needed to schedule it between 8 and 10 weeks. And so I'm 8 weeks every single Monday. So I scheduled it as soon as I could. They only do first time appointments on Wednesdays. And so I did it today. I'm currently 8 weeks and 2 days. And my due date is April 7th of 2025. We were so excited too because in the appointment, the OB told us that they have new technology and testing where they can just do a simple blood test and find out the gender at 10 weeks, which to me is crazy because I was not expecting to find out if the baby was a boy or a girl this early. Like in 2 weeks from now, we'll know because I'm currently 8 weeks and 2 days. So if you're getting ready for your first OB appointment, what you need to know is they're going to do a transvaginal ultrasound. And so that's when they insert a probe into the vagina, just about like this much, and then they can see a pretty clear picture of the baby, which I'll insert here.
That's good that there's not two.
You can even see a little bit of motion there. You see that kind of wiggle.
And I'm a labor and delivery nurse, so previously I was able to do an ultrasound over the belly, and that didn't get as clear and as good of a picture, but you could actually see the baby there too, which is amazing. Like, it's such a good feeling just like seeing your baby on the screen. So we walked into the appointment, and pretty much they just asked a bunch of questions about health history. They asked about previous pregnancies. I did previously have a miscarriage a long time ago, like in 2017 or something like that. At 5 weeks, I was only pregnant for a week, and my body just passed the baby. I started bleeding, and so previously I had one miscarriage before, and then other than that, like, this is the only time that I've been pregnant. And they're gonna ask you about symptoms. So I told them about my symptoms. Mostly I'm just having headaches. I'm feeling like really hungover all the time. My boobs are hurting so bad, like they're so swollen. I feel like they've literally doubled in size. And then I just feel really, really bloated. Like, it's crazy when I stick my belly out, it looks like I'm already like 25 weeks pregnant, and I'm like, this is not normal. Why am I so bloated? Why am I so bloated? Also, I want to talk about morning sickness because at first that's what it was. Like, I'll be sick most of the day, and then all of a sudden like 2 o'clock would come around and I'll feel so much better. But that was for a week. For the last 2 weeks, like, I'm sick all day. Like, it comes in waves, and I don't know what this talk is about, like, morning sickness, because it's not just in the morning. Like, it can be all day. So they took me back into the room, and they asked me a few questions, and then they had me get undressed from the waist down. They did the transvaginal ultrasound, and then the doctor came in and just asked if we had any questions or anything like that. I let her know that I stopped all my medications besides prenatal vitamin. I'm taking choline, and then I took Tylenol once for a headache, but she said Tylenol is completely safe in pregnancy, but just not to take ibuprofen. And we also talked about Zofran. So Zofran is something that they will prescribe for nausea. However, I did not know this, but if you take Zofran before 10 weeks, there's a chance that your baby could develop cleft lip. And I guess there's been tons of studies done on this, and some studies show that it does cause cleft lip if taken in excess amounts before the baby is 10 weeks. But of course, like, I would rather just kind of deal with the nausea than risk, something like that happening. So I think that's something that a lot of people don't know, and it's just me wanting to spread the knowledge. So then we also talked about genetic testing. So they can actually test for Down syndrome, all kinds of different genetic disorders, as well as they can see the risk for the baby getting cystic fibrosis. I'm not exactly sure how that test works, but I think they can figure out if mom or dad is a carrier and what the chances are of the baby actually having cystic fibrosis, which is really interesting that they can do that through a blood test. And then she said to just go to the lab at 10 weeks or in the 10-week mark or 11-week mark and to get the labs drawn. She said they'll draw a whole rainbow full of tubes. And then, they'll also do all the genetic screenings and everything like that. But it has to be after 10 weeks to be the most accurate. And then we scheduled a time for me to come in and see the doctor in the 11-week mark. They like to see you before your 12 weeks so that they can discuss like all of the results for the genetic screenings, and they can tell you the sex if you want to know the sex. But what I'm hoping that we can do, because I've been seeing all of these cute like little gender reveals, and I think it would be so neat to like get the results and put them in an envelope and then give them to the lady at the bakery, and so that we don't know, and then have a cake made, and then what couples are doing. And I know you guys have probably seen these videos, they're so cute. They'll take a wine glass, so they'll each have a wine glass, and then they'll look at each other and they'll put the wine glass down in the cake, and then on the count of 3 they'll lift it up, and then if it's pink then it's a girl, and if it's blue then it's a boy. So I feel like that's just such a fun way to like find out, and they'll get the whole thing on video. It's just so adorable. So I would love to do something like that. I think that would be so fun. So that's really what to expect for your 8-week or your first OB appointment. That's usually what they'll do. I was a little worried that they weren't going to scan me, and I've heard before that people weren't scanned, and I just wanted to make sure that the baby was not in my fallopian tube, which I was able to find that out before, thank goodness, being a labor and delivery nurse. So, but yeah, finding out you're pregnant, like that would be the first thing that I would be worried about, that the baby would implant in the tube and it would be an ectopic pregnancy. So yeah, besides that, I'm currently 8 weeks. The baby is the size of a raspberry and 1/2 inch long, and basically just looks like a big gummy bear right now. You can tell that baby has like a huge head and is still kind of like curled over. And then when they did the ultrasound, you could see a little yolk sac. And so it's not even, the yolk sac isn't even, there's not a placenta right now. And so you can see a little yolk sac, and there's actually not a placenta formed yet. And so right now, all baby has is a yolk sac. The doctor was telling me that the like really hungover, like yucky feeling that I've been feeling really peaks at 8 to 9 weeks is what she said, which is what I had previously researched. But I think mine peaked at 6 weeks, because from 6 to 7 weeks, I felt absolutely awful. Like I could not get off the couch. I was falling asleep like early, like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And I just, oh my gosh, I felt so horrible. And now it's like gradually starting to get better. Last week, I mean, I've still been feeling pretty crappy some days. Today is probably like the best that I felt. And it's the middle of the 8th week. And so I'm hoping that I've kind of gotten through that stage and that I'm going to start feeling better. But it's crazy because being a labor and delivery nurse, like I see women, they'll come in and they're still so sick at like 20 weeks, 30 weeks, still like just throwing up and just so freaking sick and so tired of being sick. And we're giving them medications through their IV to try and help them with that, and they lose a ton of weight because they're not eating and they're throwing up, and it's just horrible. So I'm just praying that this passes and that I'm already like through the worst of it. These are all of the ultrasounds from the first prenatal appointment, and they gave me this cute little printout. As you can see, baby is just like a little gummy bear with just like little tiny nubs of arms and legs.
That kind of wiggle.
Do you think that's a limb or what's moving?
Starting to be. So this looks like it's probably head up here. Start there's bottom, and these are little limb buds right here. So kind of the start of arms.
Oh wow! I see the heartbeat right now.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, and there's kind of the start of a leg down there too. So a little leg bud. Looks kind of like a little gummy bear.
Oh.
Perfect.
There is a little bit of movement, which is what they're looking for, but at this stage, there's really not a ton of movement. The first pregnancy test is like the very first one. You can barely see a faint line, and then as you can see, like as time goes on, the line starts to get darker and darker and darker. It's crazy because the day before we got that pregnancy test, the pink one with that faint line, we actually got a negative test, which is crazy. And then the very next day is when we got the positive test with the very, very faint line. It feels really good to just have that first appointment out of the way. And I can't believe that I'm already halfway through my 8th week. I'm going to see family and do like a little pregnancy announcement. Not next week, but the following week. So I'll be 10 weeks by the time when I announce it to them. Well, at the end of the 9th week, and so my mom will find out at the 10th week. It's just like how, because I'm seeing my dad first, then my mom, just the way that they live. We're driving up, so it just worked out that way. But yeah, if you're wondering, definitely bring your husband to the first OB appointment, or your significant other. If you're wondering, like, should you go by yourself? Should you bring them? Definitely bring them, because then they can ask questions as well, and they can see the baby on the screen, because it's a really good feeling, like sitting there together and just like being able to see the baby that you guys created together on the screen. So I'm so thankful that my husband was able to make it to the appointment. And I think I'm gonna bring him, definitely he's coming to the next one as well, because that's where we're going to discuss like the sex, the genetic results, and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm going to tell them, don't tell me the sex. I want it in an envelope so we can do the cake thing. But I don't know if I'll do another update this week. I'm trying to do weekly updates, just like on the pregnancy, on my symptoms, on how I'm feeling. So we'll see if I do another video this week just on that, but I don't think so. So you'll probably see me next week for week 9. And of course, I'm pre-recording all of this stuff. I have not told family or anything like that. And so I don't know how I'll release these. Like I'll probably, I guess once my friends and family know, once everyone knows that, because I don't want anyone to find out like on Facebook or social media or something. And so once everyone knows, then I'll probably start releasing the videos that I've already created, maybe like twice a week or something, until I can get caught up. And then at that point, I'll release them regularly. So yeah, I hope you guys are following along. I'm having so much fun just like documenting this process. If you're following along, then let me know where you're from in the comments. Like probably if you're watching this, then you're probably pregnant too. So if you are and you feel comfortable sharing, then let me know how far along you are. And I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.